and welcome back to Asknikkip. I don't know what's going on outside. There's like random noises that I'm hearing, so excuse that. So I'm gonna jump into today's question. It says, hey Nikki, my dad told me today that he and my stepmom are having another child. My stepmom has 3 kids already, and my dad has my brother, excuse me, burping, cute, as my brother who's 21 and me, who's 17. My stepmom and I have never seen eye to eye and have only talked once since I moved out a year and a half ago. Because I don't like being around my stepfamily, a huge strain has been put on my dad and I's relationship, and we don't spend time together very much. I know this may seem childish, but I feel that my dad will love this child on a deeper level than he loves my brother and I, because he doesn't love half of me, my mother, and he loves this child's mom. Also, this child will be living with him and I don't. Any advice? Okay, so a couple things to that. First off, that doesn't sound childish. I think the emotion that you just explained, to me, as I read that, sounds completely like I understand how you've come to that place. Now, that being said, that's not true. And I think you need to like hear that, and you need to know that, and you need to like really believe it, because that's just not true. I get how you got there, but if you choose to believe that, you are choosing to believe a lie, and you are choosing to feel very badly about something that just is not true. Now, that being said, I think there's a lot of pain there, obviously with you, obviously with your dad, because I feel like if he wasn't either feeling bad or feeling hurt, I feel like he would have reached out more. It's a shame that you're not as close with your dad or your stepmom. What I would say, because family relationships are just complicated, and this sounds like a complicated one, but what I would say is that it's worth fighting for. It's worth, if you're like me, sometimes I feel like I tend to write things off, like, oh, it's just too much drama, I'm not gonna deal with it. And then I just don't wanna deal with it. And sometimes that is actually a valid, like, this is too dramatic, this is wasted emotional energy for me, I do not need to be going there. But sometimes that's a bad reaction to have, because there are things in life that are really worth fighting for and that are important to fight for. And in family is one of those things. Now, granted, there are times where people do things where it's like you kind of just revoked your family card because you've done something that clearly says you want nothing to do with me, you don't want to be in my life at all, you know, you're abusive, you're alcoholic. There are things that it's not like, you know, just always like family till the end. Sometimes it's like, what are you gonna do? This person is a abusive alcoholic. It is what it is. But when it comes to like kind of just drama, like things that are just painful and hard to go through, family is worth fighting for, and it's worth dealing and confronting the drama and working past it. It's worth the emotional pain that you're going to go through in that process, because it's a good pain, it's a strengthening pain, and it's a pain that will hopefully ultimately lead to deeper, stronger bonds. So as far as practical advice, I want everyone, you know, who feels like they have, you know, advice, good, positive advice, to chime in the comment section, because obviously, as usual, I'm not an expert. I haven't been through this, but my thoughts on this are, I would try to start scheduling something. I was just talking to my dad about this the other day, that I think it's very dumb, not for of people, of myself, to call something a priority or say something is important and then not make time for it. Because if you don't make time for something, like your time is the most important thing that you can give away. If you don't make time for something, then like clearly it's not a priority. So I would say, you know, reaching out to your dad, and even reaching out to your stepmom and saying like, hey, I know I've been a little MIA, getting used, you know, being out, living on my own, settling down, life has been crazy, but I want you to know, like, you're important to me, and I would like to start seeing each other more. How would you feel about, you know, weekly family dinners, or, you know, bi-weekly tea, or whatever you think is appropriate? I don't know how long, you know, it's really been since you've seen people, or what the nature of the relationship is, but whatever whatever practical step you can take to make things happen that is appropriate, you know, for what's kind of gone down. I think that's a good way to go because, you know, I think I mentioned this in Asknikkip. Dan and I are taking like a marriage class. My parents are running like a marriage group at our church, and a lot of the focus on the little DVD series we're watching is on making practical steps. Like, what can you practically do to make your sex life better? What can you practically do to solve fights? Not just like wishy-washy, emotional, whatever. And I think that's the same thing here. Like, how can you practically get time together? You know, if you don't know what you're going to talk about with them, spend some time ahead of time thinking like, okay, the time I was around them, what are some of the things that they like and I like, or topics that we could talk about? Write them down on your phone. If you're sitting at the table and you're like, this is so awkward, what do we talk about? You know, open up your phone, look at your list of topics, put it down, and then be like, so, and then start the conversation for that. Find the things that you can discuss, that you can, you know, keep talking and kind of like bond over, and run with that. So that's kind of my thoughts on it. But like I said, let me know in the comments, guys, what your thoughts are. And I'm sorry that you have been going through this, and just know, like, that makes sense to me how you felt this way. But no, it's not true. So, yeah, I'm going to open up my phone again, and I'm going to look at the Twitter question. It says, favorite song and movie. Okay, so that changes a lot. I have a few ties for my favorite movies. These are like ones, and I like so many movies, but these are some of the movies that have been on my list for like so long because they struck a chord for some reason. I really like The Hurricane. Denzel Washington is in that movie. It's about a boxer in the 50s who is wrongly convicted of murder, and it's a true story, and it's really interesting. It just talks a lot about like the social atmosphere at the time and a lot of racism, and I just think the performance is brilliant, the story is brilliant, and something about that is just really amazing to me to see that it wasn't that long ago that we were openly, blatantly judging people by the color of their skin. I know that still goes on in the world, but like, it's just, at least in what's going on in America, it's just so different than it was like 50 years ago. I mean, we have a black president now. It's just mind-blowing. So that, I like Mean Girls. I love Mean Girls. I love The Notebook. I love The Notebook. I'm going to say those are my three. I'll tie it at that. And then my favorite song at the moment, because that changes all the time, is Problem by Ariana Grande. I love her, and I love that song, and I love that collaboration, and I love that they bring live instruments on her tracks that she's been they had like the harp, and what is that instrument again? Saxophone? Saxophone. So yeah, there's that. So that is it. Let me know, guys, what your favorite movies are and your favorite songs right now, because I'd be really interested to hear that, and I feel like I'm the worst at finding new stuff. Like, I always hear these other YouTubers with like new movies and new songs. I'm like, where did you... I'm still listening to music from 1998, so yeah. That is it. Send your messages and questions to asknikkip@gmail.com or use the hashtag AskNikkiP, and I will see you all very soon. Bye.